I just want to show you.
Back to Jimmy.
I want to show you Joe Biden lying, blatantly saying he wouldn't pardon his son.
Question regarding the family. I'm extremely proud of my son Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know, and I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision. And I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
So there he is once, here he is twice.
Ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
So he's not going to pardon him. Said it emphatically, and he said it unequivocally, said it twice. Here is Whoopi Goldberg on The View today.
Okay.
Should be good. I respect it as a parent. I understand why he would do it, but I wonder to understand why lie about it for so long.
I'd stop calling it a lie.
Okay, why repeat it?
I would stop calling it a lie. Why?
Or else what?
Because Whoopi Goldberg, like a lot of my old friends in Hollywood, are in a cult and they don't know it. That is cult-like thinking. Cults, you can never question the leader or the leaders of your cult, and they can never be wrong, and they can never tell a lie. And that's what that is. So even though it's blatant that he lied, it is completely clear, as I just showed you, he blatantly lied. You want me to show you his press secretary lying? Here's his press secretary lying. Watch this.
Will the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
No.
Okay. Let me go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Again, you've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute the sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not. It's
still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no. And I don't have anything else to add.
Okay, so now this woman wants to know, why did they lie like that? Why did they reassure us over and over and over and over, from Joe Biden to his press secretary and everybody on TV, that this wouldn't happen? And here's what Whoopi says.
As a parent, I understand why he would do it, but I wonder to understand why lie about it for so long.
I'd stop calling it a lie.
Okay.
And so that's Whoopi Goldberg telling you that she has no respect for her audience. She has no respect for that woman on her panel because she's just going to gaslight her. It's not a lie. What?
Why?
Why is it not a lie? And this woman doesn't challenge her on it. Here's what she says.
I repeatedly say you're not going to, and you do. And secondarily, for the part of this country, half of it that doesn't support Biden, doesn't know him personally, doesn't get to have phone calls, and they're just looking at a system that seems like it's only benefits the people who are in power.
I'm going to say,
what precedent does that set?
Well, here's what it says.
So can you defend what Joe Biden is doing without bringing up Donald Trump? And the answer is no. No, because that's immediately she changes the subject. And she changes the subject, not about Joe Biden and what he's doing, not about Hunter Biden, not about the crimes, not about that they lied and said they weren't going to pardon him. But now she's going to shift the topic. This is what I honestly, of all the things I've seen in corporate media, I think Joe Scarborough saying F you if you don't believe me, Joe Biden is not demented and this is the best version of him and I've known him my whole life. That and this are the two craziest things I have ever seen in my life. This is crazier than Rachel Maddow saying Putin can shut off your power in the middle of winter. That was kind of funny. This is deep cult. This is deep cult shit. And the people who I used to hang around with in Hollywood all think like this. They're all, and they accuse MAGA of being in a cult. MAGA disagrees with Trump on Israel. Almost every MAGA person I meet in person does not support Israel and what Trump is doing, his plans for Israel. But this is cult thinking. This is unbelievable. My mind is kind of boggled. I'm kind of It takes a lot, right? Because you see the stuff I show you every day. This is something. Watch what she does.
President, for all of us to open our eyes, because we've elected someone who is in a similar situation, who didn't have a drug problem, who knew what he was doing, who clearly stood and said, I can do this. And he did it. So I think
she's talking about President Trump, who went to court under false all those bullshit cases,
right,
that have all collapsed under their own weight. And so now she has to go, well, Donald Trump is worse. No, we're not talking about Donald Trump. She wants to know why Joe Biden and everybody else on TV and his press secretary lied.
Because Trump. The answer is Trump.
The answer is because Trump. That's the answer.
Yeah.
Because Trump.
They're stupid for asking the question, frankly, because you know the answer. You've been on The View.
You know what exactly.
There's only one answer. Why is it okay when we do these horrible crimes? Trump.
Because Trump.
Because Trump. Did you forget about Trump? Don't normalize the guy who's elected.
For many, many reasons, this is very different than any other situation that we have ever dealt with. Because when we're talking about who gets a pardon and who doesn't get a pardon, this man, I think Biden had no intentions of pardoning Hunter. And I think the more...
So it was just accident. He just woke up and he accidentally pardoned him. He didn't mean to. What?
No, he thought Kamala was going to... He didn't think Kamala would, but he thought it wasn't supposed to go down how it did. He was going to do another 4 years in his mind.
No, yeah, right? Yeah, that's right. It wasn't supposed to go. No, what was supposed to happen was they're going to have a deal.
Yeah.
With the prosecutor, but the judge threw out the deal because the deal was ridiculous.
That's the only reason he wasn't going to pardon him, was because Hunter was going to get a slap on the wrist for appearance's sake. Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff that went down. I think he said, well, why am I busting my behind to stay straight and do this when nobody else is, when no one else is doing it?
So if Donald Trump breaks the law, why don't I break the law too?
Yeah.
That's what she's saying. She's literally saying, and even Sonny's like, oh my God, that's weak. But their brain dead, brainwashed Stepford audience applauded that as if it was some kind of smart thing to say. They're all in a cult.
This is ever show the crowd.
I'm not saying this. No, I never see the crowd. I'm not saying this as hyperbole. I'm saying this is the definition of cult thinking. This is what it is. You're not allowed to color outside the lines and question anything, like you weren't allowed to question COVID. You weren't allowed to question Joe Biden's demented until it was okay to do it. You weren't allowed to. Now you can't call him a liar, and anything he does is okay. There's a reason. It all makes sense, and they applaud it.
I call it democracy, Jimmy. What you're calling a cult.
He was going to win, and I just wish he would have been honest with the public.
He said he wasn't going to pardon him even after.
Wow. Well, I didn't hear it, but it sure smelled like someone farted.
I mean, that is stunning. That's crazy. That is crazier than Whoopi's haircut.
What? And that is follow-up question. What in the fuck with that hair? I wouldn't lie. I wouldn't shave the sides of my heads like that and look like, what are you, from the Lion King? What the hell is she doing?
She's not auditioning to be some kind of alien in the next Battlestar Galactica? That's not what that haircut's about?
Well, they didn't have aliens in that. She looks like wasn't she in Lion King as a jackal?
I understand two things, because I respect it as a parent. I understand why he would do it, but I wonder to understand why lie about it for so long.
I'd stop calling it a lie.
Okay.
And I would stop calling that a haircut.
Yeah.
I would stop calling it a lie. I'm sorry. If you can say that with a straight face, you're in a cult. And if those people can applaud it, that is cult-like thinking.
If I was Whoopi, I'd paint myself green and wear a witch hat instead of that hair. You know, because Wicked's big now.
Yeah, over to Steph.
Okay, here we go. Where did I leave off? All right. Jimmy, thoughts on Ron and Rand Paul? It may come as a surprise, but you may be more sympathetic to Ron Paul than Bernie in most respects. Rourke. I think you've watched the show, haven't you, Rourke? You know how we feel about Ron and Rand Paul. You know, we're still waiting to get Rand to be a guest, but we've had Ron on as guest before. Yes, and we've had great conversations with him. Savage. On Thanksgiving Day, Biden pardoned Peach and Blossom. He realized later that he had forgotten to pardon the family turkey, Hunter Biden.
Okay.
Back to Jimmy.
Can you make me one more tea?
Yeah.
I'm going to play you now 9 minutes straight. This is 9 minutes straight, and I'm going to try and play it without stopping. We'll see if I can do it. This is 9 minutes straight of your corporate news media, the news media that say there's too many lying on too much misinformation on social media. Oh, you can't. Oh, people think that Twitter's the news. They're not. We're the news. I'm going to show you 9 minutes of them misinforming you and lying to you about the Hunter Biden pardon. You ready? Let's enjoy it. Let's see if I can play it all the way through.
Presidential promise to put the law before family.
Yeah.
The president promised, I can't see, I have to stop it immediately. The president promised to put the law before his family. Watch, here he does it.
He said, I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Letting the world know that he will not wipe away the decision of 12 of his son's peers.
Was asked directly, and he has said
that's exactly what he did.
Wouldn't pardon his son if he gets convicted.
Let's wait and see what happens if he loses.
Yeah, but he said it.
He's going to get pardoned by his dad. There's no question about that.
The president has ruled out pardoning his son.
Major commitment from the president, accepting the outcome of the trial and also pledging not to pardon his son.
So the challenge for him is really to continue to live up to his values when it was really personal, and he did that today.
It seems like a pretty normal, straightforward answer, but it takes new weight when we see what Trump is saying about the outcome of his trial. We're hearing from other Republicans who say they don't accept the jury's verdict here in New York.
The contrast is profound. To sit there and say, well, I'm not going to intervene in the legal process and I wouldn't pardon my son. One side, Democrats and Joe Biden protecting the justice system. And on the other, Republicans and Trump protecting Trump.
They're protecting the justice system.
Destroy the justice system.
Yes, that's.
My God, that makes me really. It's hard to watch.
That's that S.E. Cup. She's a real genius.
Current president of the United States has so much respect for the law that he has said he would not pardon.
So much
his son.
Respect.
I mean, what? Yeah. Again, it's all about the contrast.
President Biden saying, I will respect whatever this jury decides versus Donald Trump after he was convicted on 34 counts, saying the entire system is rigged against him.
Their latest attack has been that Joe Biden has politicized and weaponized the DOJ, right? That was the whole argument around Donald Trump's conviction. And this week, of course, Hunter Biden was found guilty. And Joe Biden has very clearly said he would not pardon his son. He would not commute his sentence. How stark is this difference? I mean, how can Republicans keep making this argument now that Joe Biden has really put it out there? Where's Hunter? Mm-hmm. And he stood there in a courtroom, flanked by his family, and he's accepted his sentence.
He is not pardoning his son. Which he could do. These are federal charges. Right. He is not doing that. He is not doing it because he is living what it means to have a rule of law in this country. Yeah. And if you want to know if he believes it, you could actually see what is happening with his own son.
The president, Anderson, has been really clear that he is going to accept the outcome of the trial no matter what happens.
So Joe Biden's gotten asked about, talking about law and order. He's gotten asked if he would pardon his son. He has said no. On the other side, you've got Donald Trump, who has said that he will pardon the January 6th insurrectionists. Yeah. They're not even his sons. They're just sons of bitches.
Washington said, I am not running again because he understood the self-restraint was absolutely essential to this country. So you don't have a king. He did not pardon his son. He did not order the Department of Justice to say, don't prosecute my son. So impressive.
Could have ordered the Justice Department to halt the prosecution of Hunter Biden, according to this court. Everyone understands he's a decent man.
I think Joe Biden has a chance here to stand up for the rule of law, to say the law is the law, no matter who it is, no matter if it's Trump or Biden. And remember, part of Trumpism's dangerousness is that it tears down institutions, important institutions of our democracy. So there is an opportunity here for Biden to say, the jury found him guilty. This is how it's supposed to work. Period, paragraph, end of story.
Have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
As I said last week, I will accept the outcome of this case and will continue to respect the judicial process as Hunter considers an appeal. You know, the president said he won't touch it. He said he's not going to pardon his son. And it seems that Merrick Garland let it go through. How can the Justice Department be weaponized against Trump when all of that is happening?
But Democrats stand for the rule of law. Remember, law and order. And we've been saying that Trump's not above the law.
Amazing.
Hunter Biden's not above the law. No one is above the law. And it is amazing to see the stark
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know how I can do 9 minutes of this. I'm going to have to go pee. This is unbelievable. Like,
this is unbelievable.
I'm actually like, Trump better not make nice to these people, and he better do the horrible revenge that they're afraid of.
Won't touch it. He said he's not going to pardon his son. And it seems that Merrick Garland let it go through. How can the Justice Department be weaponized against Trump when all of that is happening?
But Democrats stand for the rule of law. Remember, law and order. And we've been saying that Trump's not above the law. Hunter Biden's not above the law. No one is above the law. And it is amazing to see the stark contrast between how Democrats handled today and how Republicans handled this whole thing over the last couple of weeks.
For years, these conservatives have been crowing about a politicized Justice Department, Biden politicizing it, and so on. What happened today? The Justice Department convicted the president's own son, his only living son. You heard the president say he would accept the outcome of the case. I know no other word for that, but presidential.
Mm-hmm. He even went so far as to say he wouldn't pardon his son. That's how much respect he has for the system.
The president has said that he will not pardon his son. What did you think of that? I thought it was extraordinary. I mean, it was a moment of just moral clarity on the part of Joe Biden, and couldn't have been in starker contrast.
Remarkable moral clarity
to the way Donald Trump has handled his own conviction.
He could still pardon him. He said he won't do that. All of that conduct, given that it's his son, is kind of, we should pause for a moment and think about how unbelievable that is. In a million years, if the shoe were on the other foot and Donald Trump was facing the prospect of his son being prosecuted by a Biden, me, if I had been held over, a Biden holdover or Obama holdover prosecutor, not in a million years would that have happened. So, some of the people on the right, the people who support Donald Trump, are trying to cast this as some clever ops program.
Yeah. Hunter Biden was found guilty by a jury of his peers, just like Donald Trump, because this is our justice system at work. The divide here is stunning, and it's a great reminder that one political party remains committed to the rule of law and the other doesn't.
Joe Biden has already proven he's willing to stand up for the rule of law in a way that we could all never imagine Donald Trump to do.
Pretty emphatic over the last few days that he does not plan to pardon or commute his son. What that really is him saying is, I don't plan to use the powers of the office, the powers of the presidency, to provide private relief for my family. In a sense, he's staking out a pretty bright line between being, as he says, a president and a dad. And that's not just an emotional expression. He's in effect saying, I don't think that I don't have a right, even if it's legal, and God knows it must be tempting, to use this power in a way that is not available to so many other Americans facing similar kinds of struggles. There's a kind of old school sort of flinty core to his conception of how you are to be in the system, how you are to be as a person, a moral person, and ultimately how to contend with questions of power. One of the things that anybody who spends time around Joe Biden comes to know is that he's had this long-running focus on how much he is bothered by abuses of power.
Will accept the verdict no matter what it is, and that he has ruled out pardoning his own son. Contrast that from what we hear from Donald Trump. And again, we have to underline, in no uncertain terms, President Biden saying, I will accept the outcome. I will accept what the jury decides here. That's the way our legal system works. And no, I will not pardon my own son if he is convicted.
And the contrast is so clear in terms of decency and principle and transactional guidance in terms of how you view the world.
It is still a good day for the United States that this conviction is a prime example of the way our judicial system is supposed to work. Even President Biden saying in a statement that he would respect the outcome of this case. Those words so completely contrast with what his opponent, now a convicted felon himself, continues to say about the U.S. courts.
The contrast to how Trump is.
Is this like the news part where they're saying this?
Steph, can I have that bottle of water?
Like,
I burned my tongue. I need that bottle of water.
Sorry. I know that.
Okay.
This is not like, does MSNBC have, the reporters sound like they're doing a commercial. Was this all the same day, by the way, this reporting?
Behaved, how Trump has treated the rule of law. This was a good day for the system, good day for sort of America as an example of how the rule of law should work.
President Biden told David Muir that he would absolutely accept the verdict, whatever it was, and that he would not pardon his son regardless. And today he said the same thing in a statement. Meanwhile, Donald Trump comes out and calls the justice system completely unfair. What do you think of that contrast?
There's the contrast of two different men.
Here is Joe Biden, who has lost a son who served honorably in the armed forces, who now has basically said, I will sacrifice my surviving son's future. I will allow him to serve a prison term if that's what's determined, because that is what the rule of law demands.
The president announces that he will not pardon his son. Do you think ordinary Americans give enough thought to how this system is a miracle, a gift to this country, a gift to democracy?
Joe Biden, this was it's a multiple these charges in his case came about only after some of my political so they can't go to no reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's case can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out and because he is one. So he didn't trust the justice system. He didn't trust the jury. He didn't accept the jury. He didn't trust the justice system, just like Trump said. So isn't it weird that they're both saying the same thing, that the justice system is compromised?
Trump.
And it's funny. But Trump,
Jimmy.
But Trump.
Trump.
So Trump said that the cases against him were all political and they were ginned up. And that's exactly what and he is a creep for saying that. But Joe
Jimmy,
Biden's not.
Trump is going to track our periods so that we can't trans our kids. Trump, Jimmy, you're forgetting, I think, the most important thing here, Trump.
Trump.
Quite a contrast between Trumpism. Boy, watching how they sold that as it was like the greatest day in the history of America, that Joe Biden isn't going to pardon his son. Because, by the way, the verdict came in, but a sentencing hadn't happened. So who gives a shit? I bet his son got life in prison, he'd say fucking pardon, Trump or no Trump.
Well, he did say he didn't even get life in prison, and he said pardon him. He said pardon him.
What a crock of shit. Hunter was already convicted before Trump got back, and you thought you were going to win. So there's really, you can't even use Trump as an excuse.
I'll just never get over the disconnect between reality and what liberals say is the reality.
Well, on TV, and then people that watch TV, it's called fucking MK Ultra. It never stopped, and we're looking at it every day. Every single day we look at it. Everybody's mystified. How can they say this thing that's not true? And everybody parrots the same phrase. This is a great day for rule of law. This is a day of institute. They say the same hypnotic phrase all day. The only reason I ever see these news channels is because I'm on here, or if I'm stuck in in an airport and it's on. And then when you notice that they're repeating the same phrases, none of that is news. It's all like an opinion piece, like plug in Biden's next candidacy. It's actually pretty hilarious now that I'm watching it.
Okay, over to Steph. How was that?